The example that most worried me about what is happening presently is what happened to Northern Rock. And Jersey and the trust base of Jersey was central to what happened, to the collapse of Northern Rock. Because the Granite Trust, the so-called charitable fund, which held some of these CDOs and these toxic debts, was based in Jersey. And the question about transparency I leave you with is, today, tomorrow, next year, can anybody in this room find out who the beneficial owners of Jersey trusts are? If we are going to be transparent, if we're going to abandon privacy, if we're going to abandon secrecy, can we do that? And the answer is, no, we can't. And nor is there any intention that that should happen at any stage ever. Those sorts of issues will still need to be resolved, because the trust structure in particular is a very good way of hiding whatever money you wish, illegal, illegal, but certainly tax avoided money. And finding out who the beneficial owner is virtually impossible. That sort of level is what's happening. I'll finish now. I'll just say, I never thought it would happen to me. But in the last 2 months, I became a tax avoider. My wife is retired, and she has a bonus, and we've invested it. And in order to not pay tax on it, I have to get permission from the controller of income tax, Malcolm. Know him well. He hates it when I call him up because it's always an awkward question. But he has to write to me and say, I accept that the amount of money you put into your, effectively, what is a roll-up fund, is acceptable to me under Article 134A of the income tax law in Jersey. And what 134A is, and every tax regime has one, every treasury has one, every income tax department has one throughout the world, is if I think under 134A your device is made simply to avoid tax and is an unreasonable device to use, I'll stop you doing it. So we can do that. We can do it to ourselves. We can do it to others. Should we be that surprised if other people use their equivalent of 134A and say, hang on, what you're doing in Jersey is merely a device to avoid tax? And I always say last thing, and it never is. Last thing, promise. I've been saying for the past 18 months that our move to 010 and the patchwork we've got to do around it to make sure we get a decent tax take is not working. In particular, the Treasury have maintained I believe, the pleasant dream that we can chase some of that taxation that is now zero rated on foreign companies through a thing called the Blomke proposal. And it's a wonderful device, this one. It is a beauty. It can only happen in Jersey. Whether you pay rent or not for your property in Jersey, we shall say, we think you're paying, we will give a figure to it, a deemed rent, on which we think we'll have a double taxation agreement with the HM Treasury, and you won't pay tax in the UK, you'll pay tax to us. And I've been saying for the past 18 months, and I believe it's true, HM Treasury will just laugh at us and say, oh dear, you've got a deemed rent, do you actually pay any rent? No. But Jersey says you're deemed to pay a rent, and therefore UK Treasury shouldn't be charging you tax on that, what is effectively a tax here. And they will simply laugh their little cotton socks off and say, don't be silly, that is clear and transparent, a tax avoidance measure that you just made up. What's a thing called a deemed rent? In Jersey law, we deem things a lot. Won't work, can't work, but it's, again, a measure of transparency. What are we doing messing around at the edges like that won't work. Let's get our act together and actually be transparent. Let's come clean. Let's accept that we have to move to accommodate the moves around the world, globally, and accept our position in a new world. Thank you.